Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear students, welcome to our online learning session. Today, now we are learning chapter 20, that is History of Life on Earth. We had two parts from this lesson, and we learned initially the physical conditions of primitive Earth, that is, Earth before it was occupied by living organisms. And then we saw what scientists say about origin of life, when, where, and how the life began. And we saw some of their theories, and we saw about Charles Darwin, about his theory, what he observed and what he told and concluded. And we saw about neo-Darwinism, that is with genetics advanced. After the advent of genetics from Mendelian genetics, then that is called as neo-Darwinism. Then we saw some resistant uh, evolutions. Then inshallah now we see the levels of organic evolution. And once again I want to tell that uh, many things that which are said by scientists are based on their theories, observations, and things that are contradictory to Islamic knowledge. For example, scientists say that humans evolved from an ancestor that is same to the ancestor for monkey. Okay, so they say like monkey and human both have a common ancestor. So these are falsehood, and we don't see this from Islam. That's why when we live in a country like India or any country like Western country, we adopt this Western education like science and maths, and there are some topics which are contradictory to Islam, but because we are forced to study this, so my suggestion is to omit these topics. But in the school, we just have to see what is there in the book. Okay, uh, we'll see what the scientists say and how their arguments are weak. Okay, so I will explain these things that are mentioned in the book, what they say about what scientists say, and also I will mention some evidences or some logical arguments to show that how some of their arguments are false. Okay, so in the levels of organic evolution, let us go to the topic. So levels of organic evolution, they say like, so the unit of evolution, a single unit of evolution in the modern synthetic theory of evolution. In the theory of the modern synthetic theory of evolution, a single unit of evolution is the population. Okay, the population, the group. Okay, the group of organisms is what is called as the unit of evolution. Not a single particular individual is the unit. Okay, for example, if you have time, the unit of time is second. From seconds it forms into minutes, then into hours. So likewise, when you take this theory of evolution, you have a particular unit, a single part unit. So they don't consider a single individual as a unit, but the whole population as the unit. Okay, that's the first thing. Then they say the variation occurs at the genetic level through mutation. Mutation is something true, which I studied even in my uh, university. That is, mutation is we have genes when there occurs some fault in the gene. For example, you might have heard of Down syndrome kids or kids with some disabilities. Okay, in the birth itself. So these are all due to some mutation in the genes. If they have, for example, if there is a gene responsible for the growth of eyes, okay, and if that gets mutated due to some reasons, due to some any reasons. There are many reasons, but we don't want to go into that. But let's say that there are some reasons. And mutation means some changes. Okay, some changes happen in the genes. Because of that, the function of the gene also changes. Okay, so variation means changes occurs at the genetic level, that is in the genes through mutation. Mutation is there is some changes occurs in the genes, either it happens spontaneously, that is without any external factors, or artificially non spontaneously, that is due to some external factors like uh, some uh, like radiation, radiation or some other reasons. So some mutation happens in the genes, and then sexual reproduction happens and the gene pool of the population. Okay, gene pool is basically all the different genes in a population of individuals. For example, 90 more than 99 percentage, or more than 99.5 percentage. Okay, let's say approximately 99.5 percentage of all the human genes are similar. Okay, but due to the very minute percentage of the difference between two individual, they both look different. Okay, one person look different from others due to this minor differences. So when we take humans or any organism as a whole, and we consider all the different genes that are present in the different individuals, okay, and we take that as a single entity, then that is what is called as gene pool of the population. Not just one single individual, but we include all the different genes found in the different individuals of the particular organism. For example, if we take humans, then all the different genes that are found in the different humans, okay, different individuals, then that is called as gene pool, the collection of different genes. Okay, all the different genes are included, that is called as gene pool. um, then the natural selection causes greater reproduction of the variant genes having adaptive changes. So here they are saying the natural selection causes greater reproduction. The reproduction occurs with the variant genes, different genes having adaptive advantage. That is, they have some adaptive advantage. For example, if there is any adaptation needed, uh, due to the environmental changes or environmental challenge, some adaptation happens. So those genes get reproduced and those variants are passed to the next generation. The evolution at the level of hereditary material, uh, that is the changes that happens in the genes. Okay, that is the gene pool of the population. Okay, that is in the genes of a particular organism. Okay, the changes that happens there is what is called as microevolution. So populations of a species differ due to microevolution. That is, one individual looks different from other individual. They have many differences. This is termed as microevolution. And then macroevolution or adaptive radiation is the evolution and diversification at the level of species and genera. They are saying that one species differs into changes into different species because of evolution according to them. That is called as macroevolution or adaptive radiation. Okay, then the major events in the history of life. So as we mentioned earlier, all the different life forms, the scientists are saying that all the different organisms we have now are evolved gradually. This is falsehood. There are many fallacy in that. You read this paragraph. This is they basically say, so they just revise about whatever we saw in the previous topics. So basically they that unicellular organisms, then they evaluate into multicellular organisms, then they evaluate into evolve into the modern organisms, I mean high level organisms. So this is a theory. So one of the so in the next topic they talk about stages of human evolution. Okay, and in the stages of human evolution, they say that humans had a common ancestor. Okay, and from them humans and apes evolved. Okay, one form they had, they were walking in the four legs, but then they evolved into two legs walking animals. So these are falsehood. One of the example is when we say dinosaur exist on the earth, we have fossils of dinosaurs, okay, or any other organisms which are present and they are extinct, okay, that were created by Allah and they become extinct. Okay, we no more see on the world. They were high in population, so we can see their fossils, their bones. Okay, and scientists claim that these organisms were present before humans and they are able to find their fossils that are humans. But then they also claim that humans had were evolved from different species, like they have like Neanderthal man, Cro-Magnon, all these things. They come up with their a theory. So we there are group of scientists, okay, intellectual, they're also scientists. They ask these scientists, those who have the theory of evolution, they ask, so when you can see the fossils of dinosaurs, then why can't you show us the fossils that are bones of the ancestors of humans? You told they all evolved from humans are evolved from them. So they are not able to show even the even one skeletons of that. So here even they have mentioned, okay, were unearthed from many parts of the world. Okay, so I ask you to study this. These are all not so important topics, okay, because there are many things that are contradictory to Islam, and the the important topics here: variation, population, gene pool, and microevolution, macroevolution. Okay, and regarding in this topic stages of human evolution, they have mentioned that whenever I request you, whenever you write the examination, you write it as scientists claim that humans had a common ancestor, and they claim that they are evolved from apes. You write it like that. You don't write it as like humans evolved from a common ancestor. Okay, so in that way you don't approve what they say, but you just mention what they claim. Okay, this is to be on the safer side. So you say that scientists claim, you start with scientists claim, then you write whatever they claim. Diverged about 6 million years ago, and they claim that trends of human evolution are towards bipedal gait, that is walking on two legs and acquiring a large brain. They say the ancestor had a small brain, but now we have a large brain. This is their theory. And all these things, uh, if you want, you can mention. And this thing about evolution of humans showing ancestor common to apes and humans. So here apes are there. So they are saying Dryopithecus. This is the common ancestor. From there evolved apes, and here they are saying Ramapithecus, then Australopithecus africanus, and Homo habilis. Some advancement happens. Then Homo erectus happens. Homo sapiens neanderthalensis, and then Homo sapiens. One side they got extinct, this is what they claim, but now we only see that humans are present. But we ask, like, what is the evidence that you show us the fossils for all these things intermediate? We see apes, okay, we see in front of our eyes, so we accept. What is the evidence? So in some scientists argue that they come up with some deceased humans or apes fossil, that is skeleton, then they claim that these are the fossils of the ancestors. Okay, that is false, because they can show one or two deceased human or apes skeletons, but they cannot show in multiple numbers. That itself shows that what their theory is wrong. So anyway, so you study and write, as I told, that scientists claim such and such thing, evolution, like that, so that when you write in exam you don't directly say that this is what truth is, but you just state what the scientists say. Alhamdulillah, I think here I will stop. And your homework, as I told in the last lesson, same thing. You have to write on your notebook what you have learnt. Okay, these points you have to write on your notebook. And regarding the terminal exercises, you check the answers in the topics and you mark the answers, and if there are any questions which requires that you have to think and write it down, then you write those answers here in the notes section. That is the second thing. Third thing is, there are in-text questions that are present in between the topics in the lesson, so that you answer it. And if you finally you come to the end of the lesson and see the answer to the index questions and check the answers if you have written correctly. That is the third thing. um, yeah, alhamdulillah, that's it. You have these are the three homeworks. First one is you have to write the this part what you have learned on your notebook. This is the only thing you have to write on your notebook. Second thing, you mark down the answers uh, for the terminal exercise questions in the lesson, and if there are any questions that are need to be written, okay, that are not present in the lesson but you have to think and write, okay, like general questions, for that you have to write in the note section of the book. So third one is to write and mark down the answers for the in-text questions, and finally check the answer for the in-text question at the end of the lesson. Alhamdulillah, we have finished the lesson. Please study well. Okay, though these two lessons we have completed, read multiple times, study well, and ask your friends and check the internet if you don't understand anything, and you can also message me, inshallah. Barakallah fikum. May Allah make it easy for us. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.